Hi there and welcome to my review of my run in the recent Modern Showcase Challenge. First up, I decided to record this commentary to produce a little content for Samwise combo, because there's not a lot of content floating around, not a lot of people talking through their plays. And I would have wanted to have these videos myself and still want to have some of these videos myself. So I thought maybe I should just produce some myself. This is the round 1 game, but it is round 1 match, but it is game 2 already, so we are already sideboarded. I forgot to record the first match. We are playing against Living End, the Overlord version, not the normal version, the Mini version. So we did not bring in Fatal Pushes because we do not expect any Clarion Conquerors. We already mulliganed, which I also did not record, but obviously this 6 is pretty busted. One thing we could have thought about would have been not to or to keep 3 lands and lose one of the 1-drops, so we can go turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 Birthing Ritual, turn 3 land, maybe another land drop if we draw one, but I think that's quite minor decision. Obviously the hand just became even more powerful with us having drawn the 3rd ritual. Obviously we go Cat over Safekeeper because we cannot afford to sack any lands to protect our creature. With us now having drawn the land as well, it might have been better to play the Safekeeper, because at this point we could have easily sacked 1 land to protect the cat, which he will now dismember, to have an earlier start. But then again, having cat in graveyard, not as bad. We can always just top deck something that allows us to replay the cat with a food token, and if he casts his Living End, we do have a creature in the graveyard, which is also fine. Here I am making quite a huge misplay. I'm gonna put the Safekeeper at the bottom of my deck, which I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. I think I thought about, like, there's so many top decks that are better than the Safekeeper, but then again there are so much that are worse, and I should have just gone for the 100% play, put a Safekeeper on top to have something to sack. We are not getting punished. We are lucky. We were redrawing another creature, but I was of the opinion that game is pretty much unlosable at this point, because even if the Living ends, we can use our 3 rituals to draw into a win. He just used his Wistfulness to draw cards. Obviously he was quite low on cards. So obviously he did not have Living End in hand, and he wanted to dig. Then again, like, he could have thought about killing one of our rituals, which would have then made my decision to put the Safekeeper on the bottom even worse. So I think we can pretty confidently say that it was a huge misplay. Also the Safekeeper on top is also 1-drop that can protect itself against maybe another Dismember or whatever. So huge blunder. As we can see, our opponent, though, pretty unlucky draw, I guess. He had the Subtlety and the Dismember, but he has obviously no Living End, and then no further interaction, so he's just stranded. Here, thinking about the Marionette Apprentice, obviously, like, we could take Goose to get the cat back, but then makes us weaker against the resolved Living End. So I decided on one of the 2-drops that brings another creature token. Obviously we want as much fodder for our birthing rituals as possible. So it's definitely Marionette Apprentice or Orcish Bowmaster, or Gilded Goose, because it's the same amount of creatures, and we would also have like an additional 1-drop to sack. But as I already mentioned, we definitely do not want to take the cat out of the graveyard. We want it in the graveyard to eventually it either getting revived with Living End or us just comboing. I think Marionette Apprentice definitely the better pick. I will pick Bowmaster. I'm not quite sure what I thought. I thought about him like digging for answers, and then our Bowmaster pings him more, and then we can attack with our army, which will grow. But honestly, him being at 8 HP, it would have been better to take Apprentice. Then again, we are getting really lucky that game. Our hand was busted, and then we just get another Marionette Apprentice. I eventually realized my mistake and sacked the Bowmaster into the next Apprentice, which obviously shows terrible play. If I would have taken the Apprentice, I could have then sacked the Servo token into a Goose, which would have let me have the ability to revive the cat in case they endurance us, for example. So pretty big misplay again. Our opponent top decks the Shardless Agent, but obviously we are pretty safe against Living End. Only thing that could have hurt us would have been if his last 2 cards would have been Endurance, green card, and then he would also have the Cascade spell. But now, like, he's just dead. I think we are going through the motions, but I get the Sephiroth, I get the Bowmaster to ping again. I will have 3 triggers, so this is already 3 damage from the Sephiroth without me having anything else, and then I top deck Bowmaster again, and then basically he's dead at this point. So we are just going through the motions, activating our rituals. Doesn't really matter what we do. I find the sack outlet as well, so the game is Giga over. I'm going to fetch for the Dryad Arbor to have even more sack fodder, but he was dead a million different ways, so pretty lucky this game. I played quite bad, got lucky. Let's jump to the next game. Our games are pretty fast, so there was long waiting times during the challenge. Next game we'll be playing against Boros Land Destruction. In my opinion, one of our worst matchups. I am fairly confident. I tried to scout most of my opponents. I'm fairly confident I knew that this guy was playing Land Destruction. So I tried to mulligan accordingly. The first hand is quite okay, I think. I think I was in my head a little because I thought, oh, if he's playing Land Destruction, we will... yeah. Okay, that was a huge mistake. I was thinking, okay, he will be playing Land Destruction, and this hand, while it's quite good, and it's... like, we could go Goose, we'd fetch Overgrown Tomb into Goose, food token pass. Our next turn we play Cat with the already fetched Overgrown Tomb, play our fetch land, pass turn again. On his end step we fetch for Surveil, then go into our turn, fetch for Overgrown Tomb, play Yawgmoth, have Goose, Familiar, Yawgmoth, Caught left in hand. So that's quite, like, that's a really good hand. And then I got into my own head thinking, oh, this guy is playing Land Destruction, so he will destroy my Overgrown Tomb and Yawgmoth will not be castable. And then I mulliganed, which I think terrible to mulligan for an opponent where you think he plays something, but you're not sure. So if I would have been like 100% confident that he's playing Land Destruction because a friend of mine scouted him or whatever, might have been a different topic, might have been right to mulligan this, but just from looking at his like MTGO results, pretty bad. Like, that's a huge keep against like most decks in the format. But I decided to mulligan. Another huge mistake, which then I don't see a single land, so I have to mulligan again, and now I'm on 5 cards, and if he's playing land destruction and I'm on 5 cards, the match is over anyway, so giga blunder. He also did not... Oh, he did reveal Kahira, but I didn't see. So another clue we could have taken, but again. And then I get this hand that's still quite terrible. We lose our worst fetch, which Misty Rainforest is the least versatile fetch, so we bin that one. We don't want 4 lands in our hand. We bin Yawgmoth. As already explained, that card is pretty much not castable in land destruction matchup. And then we are like on the play. We don't have a 1-drop. Benjamin Cup pretty sweet against land destruction. But yeah, he's keeping 6. We are keeping 5. We are not out of it already, but it's not looking good in my opinion. Obviously, we see now he is playing land destruction. We go for the survey land. Pretty standard. We could have thought about keeping the Soul Trader, obviously, because we have 3. In theory, we have 3 mana next turn. Obviously, he can destroy land, but we will play Bechamel Cup, so it's reasonable to assume that we can cast Warren Soul Trader for 3 next turn. I think my thought process was that if I tap out like for 3 mana playing Soul Trader, and he will just use one of his many spells to kill it, erode it, path it, whatever. We are pretty far behind, so I wanted to try to cast 2 2-drops on turn 3. But then again, he will definitely interact with us. Like, he has access to Wrath of the Sky, so going wide might not be the best solution. So you could have thought about like keeping the Soul Trader. We did not really get punished because we drew the second 2-drop, so lucky again, but questionable decision, I think. Obviously, like, he does nothing turn 1. Then I can't recall what he did or what he played the next turn. So basically, obviously, we are afraid of, Galvanic Discharge. We are afraid of the first Erode, because the first Erode kills our black land. Then we can fetch. We only have 2 black sources left in the deck. We already have 2 black cards in our hand, so it's very hard for us to cast our cards if he starts destroying our black lands. And basically him eroding something means that that's our only turn where he actually ramps us after we don't have any basic lands, obviously. So the first erode is the one that needs to happen when we can somehow use the mana that he ramped us into. And obviously we can't use the mana he ramped us into at this point, so we don't want to be eroded. Rather eroded and have our land killed. Okay, so that's still pretty fine. We can keep the fetch land up, so he can't really take us off any colors at this point. And then he casts Wrath, already has energy from the discharge, and this is what basically, obviously, what we are afraid of. He can, like, us not having combo, trying to go wide, he punishes us. If we go for combo, he punishes us with like erode, whatever. Terrible matchup. Still, at least we can ping him a little. We have not yet lost out on any mana. We try to re-establish our board. He has 4 cards in hand. I did not commit to carrion feeder. I'm not sure why. I think I did not want to fetch, so he could take me off of one color. Like, for example, if I fetch Godless Shrine, play carrion feeder, he kills. He would have needed to kill 2 lands. So he which he could have. He goes Demolition Field, kills one of the black lands, and then plays like Progress. The other land destruction spells takes us off of black completely. So reasonable to try to save the black pip. But also, I think we are rapidly approaching being hellbent. Because we are not likely to win anymore from this position, so maybe we could have tried to go carrion feeder and really started pressuring his life total. I think he will play Khan at this point. Obviously he has 5 cards in hand, we have 2, he's a control deck, we can't draw any cards. It looks pretty bad for us if we are not able to top deck Ritual soon. Khan is pretty weak actually at this point. We can just kill it. So we are still in this game. Then again, we are still pretty terribly punished by Wrath of the Skies at this point, which is why I'm not casting Bowmaster. What I want him to do is tap out to play his Liquid Metal Coding and then kill his Khan, so he basically wasted 3 mana or 2 mana on the coding, and would not be able to Wrath our board, and then we could top deck, for example, Court of Calling. Then we would have enough to Court of Calling for Yawgmoth, and draw. Then obviously passing with Yawgmoth on board, being able to draw 4 cards at least, getting back into the game, probably even winning. So that's what we are trying to do. Obviously, he plays the coding, we kill Khan. He has 3 cards left, puts Kahira into hand, so basically Court of Calling basically seals the game for us, in my opinion, and that's our out we played towards with our 5-land keep. Obviously, one of the worst draws to draw another land. We are trying to pressure his life total. At this point, I think if he has Wrath, the game is over anyway, so we might as well play Carrion Feeder. So if he starts to, like, because now he can't erode in response, if you play Carrion Feeder now, we are pretty safe to have at least like 3 more damage pinging him with Carrion Feeder. And he's not likely to play, I think, because he plays Khan, he's not playing the full Solitude set. So he might not have an answer, and even if he has Solitude, he goes -2. So then again, he only has 2 cards in hand, so that's also a position we could win from. I think at this point, we have to commit into Wrath of the Skies, which I do not. I should have kept the land in hand and played the Carrion Feeder, so I have at least 1 card in hand to fake whatever card. So whatever he might think that I could have in this position. So I think it would have been correct to play Carrion Feeder, keep the land in hand. Okay, he resolves Kahira. Kinda bad for us, because we can't really punch through. So we cannot attack anymore with him being quite low. Yeah, that's which Carrion Feeder could have already solved if I had played a Carrion Feeder. I'm playing Carrion Feeder now. into his open mana, so basically same as if I would have played it last turn, only now he can react, which he does by eroding, and then now basically we are not able to pressure him anymore, or not fast enough at least, and then I keep the goose in hand to fake like I have something. Now I'm basically holding up court, so he kind of has to respect the court, but if I would have played Carrion Feeder last turn, yeah, I would have been in a better position, because at least I had a 2/2 Carrion Feeder, which could have attacked next turn, like eat one of these tokens, or maybe eat even two, or eat Dryad Arbor and basically eat the Kahira. So I would be able to attack again. Then I could have also played the goose for one more, for more fodder for the Carrion Feeder, but now I've kind of have to keep it because I can't really tap out anymore. So basically cascading my mistakes, like not playing the Carrion Feeders, cascading into us, basically losing our only out, or like us pushing damage as an out, whereas obviously court is still pretty big. I think I commit to Dryad Arbor, yeah, because I want to push damage. Obviously huge draw, Birthing Ritual. And now, like, I was committed on basically representing interaction. And now I give up representing interaction, which obviously kind of stupid, because I'm definitely gonna play the Birthing Ritual, so why would I have played the goose? And then I'm attacking to like feed to being able to go attacking again, trading with Kahira. Obviously I have to eat first. Now he can respond, kill my Carrion Feeder, which obviously he does. I have less fodder for Birthing Ritual, so I just should have just done nothing. Huge mistake again. Yeah, basically I threw the game. Still not a terrible position. As I said, I pretty much threw the game, but like having Birthing Ritual and 3 cards, I'm still in it. Let's see what I can get. I'm pretty committed to go for Apprentice to basically push damage, because I want to end the game, and he only has 2 cards in hand. And then I see him like top decking Wrath of the Skies. Okay, now he Wrath of the Skies my board. Game is over, so I concede. Yeah, but I think reviewing the game, I pretty much threw the game, and I could have won it easily, even being on a bad mulligan. So maybe matchup not as terrible, but player being pretty terrible. I'm not sure what I'm waiting for. I think that's where I'm just conceding. Yeah, rightly so. Okay, pretty bad game. Both games pretty bad. Thinking about sideboarding, I'm bringing in Gadok Teak against Draft of the Skies, Sun Cleanser against Draft of the Skies. Obviously, my game plan is produce a big board as early as possible, resolve Ritual, or being able to court, then win the game. Then like not being set back by him destroying our lands, because we already have the resources we need on board. So what can't happen is that he rafts us, which means we need to bring in cards that prevent us from being rafted. I'm also bringing in Thoughtseize, which is something I'm not sure about, but I want to test against land destruction. Obviously, Thoughtseize kind of terrible against these very interactive decks. I feel there is some upside in knowing what to play around, like playing around Wrath or playing around land destruction, because both of these plans can basically lock us out of the game. And I'm also thinking about being in top deck mode against this deck. Like we often trade resources relatively aggressively, and if I'm able to take away their best interaction piece, I might be favored. Yeah, so I tried playing Thoughtseize. I am not confident in bringing in Thoughtseize against that deck. I would have been I think the probably better play is to just bring in these three, maybe one endurance to shuffle our lands back in, but I'm not quite sure about that as well. I'm cutting Bowmaster. Obviously Bowmaster kinda okay, because they sometimes draw cards with their land destruction spells, but also instant speed. But I kind of feel like that them being able to prevent us easily from playing, from having Black Pips, I feel like Bowmaster is not that good. In these matchups, I would probably cut Badger Mole Cup, but since it's land destruction, I need Badger Mole Cups, obviously. Marionette Apprentice, I feel like is a better card than Bowmaster because we have combo potential with Soul Trader. So basically, I'm cutting Bowmaster because I have nothing better to cut. Which then again would make a good argument not to bring in Thoughtseize. Now that I'm talking about how it's hard to find good cuts, should probably not bring in Thoughtseize and keep Bowmaster because Bowmaster is okay in the matchup. I am cutting one Viscera Seer. I have enough sec outlets, and I think cutting one is fine because we don't really want to overcommit into the combo line because they can stop us so easily. Obviously cutting at least one card against land destruction also pretty reasonable. So better sideboarding probably would have been cut Viscera Seer, Court and Apprentice, not bring in Thoughtseize, keep both Bowmasters in. Endurance obviously debatable. Maybe. Now thinking about it, I kind of hate Zephyriot after playing with it, so cut Zephyriot, bring in Endurance. This spot, in my new setup, this spot would have been Renegade Relia anyway, which I would then have over Endurance, but in this setup, Endurance for Zephyriot might have been better. Okay. Obviously not having two lands, I feel like that's quite a good hand. It might have been good enough to keep in, I think, realistically, playing against a deck like Titan, where I can expect people won't interact much. I might have even kept the hand, because I could go Dryad Arbor, land, if then Ritual, maybe sack Dryad Arbor, play Cauldron Familiar after, or even go Dryad Arbor, land, Badger Mole Cup the land, pass, play Ritual, sack something. So that hand is workable if Dryad Arbor lives, and I'm a pretty, as I explained, I feel like it's a very resource intensive match against land destruction, so mulliganing a workable hand feels bad, but I think I'm this deck is too aggressive on attacking my land, so I kind of have to mulligan, find another hand. Which then I think we are kind of rewarded for mulliganing because this hand is way better. Obviously we cut York. I know there's a lot of discussion about on York with some players. A lot of people are not sold on York. I think seeing the previous game where we basically lose to Wrath but are in a quite solid position, I really like having York, because we just sack 4 creatures, draw 4 cards, they tap out for Wrath, we untap, play cards, win the game. Yeah, I think like York is kind of a necessary evil to have, because there's so many spots where York just saves us the game basically. And we like it lets us overcommit into York, into Wrath of the Skies, but then not get punished by it. And obviously, as I explained, I feel like the only way to win against land destruction is kind of flood the board and not get Wrath. So Yawgmoth kind of plays into that playstyle, in my opinion, which is why I like to keep him. We go turn 1 Gilded Goose. We could play Cauldron Familiar. I don't necessarily like to expose Familiar to decks that have exile removal. Same would be true for UV control, for UV control, where they play like, or even Gorios, where they play Pending for 1. Also, Goose has obviously the bigger upside of creating 3 mana, so that's why we go Goose first. Also, we can just next turn we can play Cat and then play our land Swale, maybe even play a 2-drop. Okay, now he killed the Goose, which is quite good because we have Masked Vandal in hand, so we have a way to activate the Vandal. Yeah, we then go just for Young Wolf. Again, it's like exile removal hurts, but hurts less than exiling Cat, and like damage removal is not really feasible for Young Wolf. And we will obviously go in Surveil. There would have been a possibility to just play 2 1-drops, but I feel like seeing the hand, we need something good off the top, so I'd rather go for the Surveil and like manipulate my deck. And he is playing Rest in Peace, which as I started discussing in Discord, I hate Masked Vandal, because so many people are playing Rip, and with Rip like basically killing Masked Vandal. Now we have our answer in hand and we can't use it. So Masked Vandal, depth being a shapeshifter, which plays terribly into Bowmaster, which the Bowmasters that I cut in a terrible sideboard decision in retrospect. So basically, like, thinking about this being like a Reclamation Sage, we would have an answer for Rest in Peace. Like, obviously we would need another land, but now like this will never resolve, so we can't kill Rest in Peace anymore. We could like obviously we still play Boseiju, so we can kill it, but then again, we have our answer for like a card like this in our hand, and our answer is not usable. So terrible card, terrible play, terrible deck building. Don't play Masked Vandal. Obviously, like, pretty huge top deck, hitting Birthing Ritual. We are kind of back in the game now. Another big argument against Masked Vandal is that Marionette Apprentice does not work with Rest in Peace, because the cards are not hitting the graveyard, so they don't get pinged. So Rest in Peace basically shuts down both of our game plans. Like, Rest in Peace, one of the best sideboard cards against Sam. Luckily people don't know that that's specifically Sam hate. Obviously they play that for Storm. But this card destroys game plan 1 and game plan 2, so we need to get this off the board, which makes Masked Vandal a lot worse. Like, now our plan is to go Creature Beatdown, and Creature Beatdown, he has to play like 1 Kihira and we can't beat down anymore. So terrible position to be in, terrible card to play. Masked Vandal, I would not recommend playing it. Okay, now basically what we are hoping for is hitting like a Boseiju so we can play the game again. He takes us off of black, which not terrible. We still have Masked Vandal to play. Again, imagine this would have been a Reclamation Sage. We could have now cast it, killed the Rest in Peace, Marinette Apprentice would be online, Cauldron Familiar would have been online, or like terrible card. Obviously, well, not obviously, we played a land. Could have been the wrong decision to expose the land to being killed. Maybe we should have just kept it in hand, because obviously the land does nothing at this point. We are going to play Masked Vandal to sack it into Ritual. And then basically exposing 2 lands to be killed. He could go land double price of freedom. Now we are off of white, so maybe not a good call to play this. Okay, then obviously playing Masked Vandal just to sack it into the Birthing Ritual, because I want to keep these 2 because they can attack, or rather sack it into Birthing Ritual for like potentially a 3-drop. Obviously we are still playing Sephiroth, which I would definitely recommend against, but we could hit Sephiroth and then sack the Vandal, and I don't really want to sack the Apprentice in case we get 3-drop Besechu, so our game plan, like our second game plan, is still kind of active. So then we have the, like, we could take Sam, or we could take one of the 1-drops. But basically, I think Sam should have been the choice. Sack Vandal, take Sam, leaving us the option to top deck Boseiju, kill Rest in Peace. Having Sam on board, we don't have mana to cast any of these, but I think having the Sam already on board is starting to, like, we are starting to generate food tokens from the Birthing Ritual. I think my thinking was, if I take the Cauldron Familiar and top deck Sam, I can play Sam and have Cauldron Familiar, but I need to top deck a way to kill this Rest in Peace. So we need to think about, or we need to think farther in the future, not just our next draw, but our next few draws. So I think it would have been better to have Sam and start producing food tokens. Maybe even like thinking about having food token, like maybe hitting a Gilded Goose from Ritual, or drawing a Gilded Goose, being able to produce black mana to play like one of our cards. So I think Sam would have been the better decision. Like an argument to make is that obviously by sacking the token, I sack like a 0-drop into 1-drop, which lets me snowball Ritual easier without having to sack one of these. But then again, these are currently not good cards to have anyway, so should have maybe gone for the Sam instead. Obviously, thinking about like Masked Vandal and for example Rex Sage, the like Court is not really an out anymore for Rest in Peace, because like obviously I have Masked Vandal on the board, but like having this card in the deck would still not help against Rest in Peace, whereas having Rex Sage in the deck would help. Okay, now he's like, now I think the exactly what I talked about happened. He killed both my lands, and now I do not have any white cards left. So pretty terrible to have played the Temple Garden into nothing and immediately punished by drawing Boseiju. Imagine having the Temple Garden still, play Temple Garden now, and then Boseiju with Rest in Peace. Or even thinking about if he killed the forest, in case like I would not have played the Temple Garden, he might have killed the forest, but then I would have like a playable land in hand, and now I can't use the forest at all, so it's exposed to being killed again. Whereas if I just had kept the Temple Garden, maybe he would have killed the forest, but then I would have like I would have the Temple Garden in hand to play whenever I want to play something using green. So all in all, pretty terrible. Okay, now I'm obviously taking Sam because I can, like, lucky me. Forest is still up. I have the Sam. I can now Boseiju the Rest in Peace. But I think even though it worked out for me the way I played it, I think it was a mistake because that's like that's just getting lucky. Our position pretty good. We can Boseiju Rest in Peace and then we can just win. He has 6 cards in hand, so not as easy. And now I will shame concede soon because he rafts for 1, and I'm thinking, oh, he like has the read of me having Boseiju, so he's afraid and he wants to kill the cat and the token, so I can't win, which makes me Boseiju the Rest in Peace and thinking, oh, Rest in Peace is gone. I let Wrath of the Skies resolve. Cat goes into graveyard. I can just I can win next turn, and he only has 1 more mana open, or 1 more land, which I did not realize he had 1 energy banked from before, and now I realize. I know I'm telling him that I'm an idiot, and then I think about conceding. Obviously, like, I ping him for 3, so there might be like some way I can win. He has 5 cards though. Yeah, I try to just play something to deal some damage. I have Familiar in graveyard, so reasonably I could maybe, like, I can draw something, but then he takes me off of black again, and then he shows me nothing. Okay, so I attack again. I think it's next turn. He just showed. Yeah, okay. Now he paths my cat. So basically, I have no clock anymore. And then he shows me Khan, and then I concede. So all in all, I think I played terribly. And the obviously, I feel like Masked Vandal is a terrible card, and it cost me dearly to have put it into my deck in this match at least. Okay, jumping to the next round. Pretty decent hand, I guess. It kind of does nothing, but then, like, I tried to think about, I see him mulliganing, of course, I'm on the draw. I tried to think, is that a 6 I would keep? Like, Dryad Arbor, obviously that's like an okay 6, just been Dryad Arbor. I can go Goose into Sam into Young Wolf, which like makes half my deck a live draw. So like, I think that's quite a complicated hand to evaluate, which I did quite quick. I think my reasoning in the end was thinking, okay, he has this hand is a 6 I would keep, which then again is basically a free mulligan, right? Like, if I would keep this as a 6, I can definitely mulligan it on a 7. But thinking about the hand more, thinking about, okay, go land into Goose, pass, next turn play Sam, crack Goose, play Young Wolf, have a food token again, board is Young Wolf, Goose, Samwise, 2 lands. Following turn, go Dryad Arbor, have a second food, have 3 lands, 3 creatures. I feel like there are so many live draws, like drawing Chord is awesome, drawing Ritual is awesome, drawing Yawgmoth, for example, still Yawgmoth I wouldn't be able to cast because of Dryad Arbor, and I have at least like 2 draws, so debatable. if you could keep this hand, but thinking about like playing a fast combo deck, I think it's also quite reasonable to mull this hand and look for an early kill, because we don't know, like probably he does not know what we are playing, so killing him, like having the first game on lock with a fast kill, pretty decent playing a fast combo deck. So like I think I came around talking me out of keeping this hand again, so I think I'm confident in having mulled this hand after thinking about it even more. But then again, this hand is giga terrible, so now we have to go to 5, because this is not keepable in my opinion. Also he mulled to 6 as well, so makes the decision to mulligan the first hand a little easier as well. Okay, wondering, yeah, obviously again I have to mulligan, and then I get stuck with this hand, which is terrible, but obviously it's good enough for a 5, because we have combo basically in hand, so that's what we are playing towards. We also have Cup and Gilded Goose for like the Giga turn 2, but we would have to draw a green land to have like a really good turn 2, which I'm not confident in like relying on. So I make the decision to bin the goose, obviously, because I would not like, obviously I cannot play the Godless Shrine into cat, because then I would not be able to have a turn 2. So I need to go Dryad Arbor turn 1, don't do anything, go Godless Shrine, cast Sam, and turn 3 we like hoping we get lucky to draw a land to go Zealot into Cauldron Familiar and win. Obviously not perfect to hope like to rely on top decks, but then again we are on 5 cards. Like we need some luck at this point. Yeah, so exactly that's my plan. That's why I bin this. I think I'm coming back again to think about maybe the like my hand is too fragile. Like pretty early showing the Dryad Arbor, like showing weakness by playing Dryad Arbor as first land and then going Sam without having like going Sam on an empty board, like that loses instantly to energy and anything that can remove anything. But I think like at this point, if you go to 5 and you have maybe turn 3 kill with like drawing 1 land in 3 draws, so I think you have to keep this. Like you have to go for the kill. He shows us Devourer, which obviously makes the key more reasonable, because you can expect like Tron not to immediately, like I think it's 1 or 2 dismembers main board recently, so good chance they won't interact with Dryad Arbor as early, so the hand just became a little more reasonable. Okay, now he goes, like he taps out, so also big show of weakness. Obviously he's Eldrazi Tron, else he wouldn't play Expedition Map, but then he plays Soul Land, so yeah, pretty weak start from him, having mulled to 6 as well. Yeah. And this might be like, even though it kind of looks terrible, now we know if he plays like Thought-Knot here, he can't take Sam, so we are pretty safe in playing Dryad Arbor into Godless Shrine into Sam without him, with him not being able to stop us. So even though the draw looks terrible, it's kind of okay. And then he goes Khan, which is slightly terrible for us, turn 2 Khan, especially with our hand. And he gets coding. We are lucky and draw a land. So now it's just about like forcing through the combo in any way. He's on 2 cards, so one card, because like obviously he showed the land and then he has liquid metal coating, so one more card in hand, so he's basically relying on the coating, which it's fine for us that he starts killing our lands. Lucky draw to get another land, but this land basically saved our game, so now we can just play Zealot. He kills another land, we play Cat, we win. He has 1 card in hand, so not likely he is going to like kill more than 1 land next turn. We attack Khan, so he can't, like, also pretty huge that we can just tick down Khan, so he can't find another piece of Khan. And now, like, if he also has he has 5 mana. Both his creatures are still under his labyrinth, so obviously he can only go to 6, so he can't even cast one of his big cards. And then basically he does what we expected. He just kills the land. Like, he has another map. He goes to 0 cards in hand, so his draw was pretty terrible. And we just play Cat and we win. I think we might even play Wolf, like to train good habits, maybe? No, I'm not. I think in this situation it would have been good to play Young Wolf, to have like 1 more food token just to build the habit. Not necessary in this game, but like I think practicing good habits is important. And then also another like good habit to practice is like never ever, if you're already winning, surveil stuff away, because you're showing your opponent what cards are in your deck, so you just always surveil on top. Sometimes, like, if he would have like still had 1 card open, you might like look for something, but yeah, in this case. And then I just attack to make it faster, because obviously he's not conceding against like infinite, so I'm just attacking him, so I save some clock. Okay, now he's looking for land, but I'm just killing him in response, which not necessary, but yeah, playing for clock basically. Okay, so terrible hand, but his was worse. So we got lucky, but then again, I think a good takeaway from this game is to like look at the 5 cards you're keeping, and then like envision what is your way to win. And even though it's unlikely to win, like that's the way you have to play with these 5 cards. And it worked out for us, which obviously again lucky, but we saw the line. Like, we saw our first 5 cards, we saw the line, we played the line. Yeah, so I think that is quite nice to basically have envisioned the line and then having it turn out like we envisioned, and knowing from basically your hand how to approach the game. Against Tron, like at Razitron, I like to board Force of Vigor. I know there's people who do not like Force. I feel like like the only way they win is if we have shitty hands and can't combo before they get to Tron, or play through like Ugin, which is definitely possible with our deck, or they just stack hate pieces and we can't win anymore. And the games I'm losing is where they go turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage, turn 2 Flute, and then at some point like they get Tron, they get Ugin, and they just grind me out. That's why I like to bring Force of Figure to just like kill their stuff, kill them turn 3. Best way for us to win, in my opinion. Obviously Galactic, huge against Tron, so we bring this one as well. Thoughtseize is... I like Thoughtseize for the kind of like slower hands. For example, having like Ritual, not a straight path to combo, but comboing through Ritual, where they might be able to like get Tron, resolve something. I think in these matches it's very valuable to like take their Ugin, take their payoff. They are likely to mulligan, so Thoughtseize is very good against them. Sometimes if you snipe like a map out of their hand, they are not able to get to Tron. So Thoughtseize, I feel like very good against Tron. Obviously we cut Bowmaster. Bowmaster basically does nothing. Very fringe case where you sometimes snipe an Eldrazi spawn and they can't get to like the mana threshold they need, but do not take Bowmasters. Cutting Apprentice, theoretically, like Apprentice is I think it might be correct to play 3 in the deck instead of 4. So that might just... I'm cutting like the 4th Apprentice relatively often, because it's mostly there for redundancy. It could have also been like I'd play 3 Cups, 4 Apprentice, 2 Bowmasters. It might be correct to play to play 3 Bowmasters, cut 1 Apprentice. So the 4th Apprentice, not really needed. Should maybe be a 3rd Bowmaster. Meta call, I guess. But so we cut Apprentice in most matches, basically. And then we cut at least 1 Bechamel Cup and 1 Young Wolf. 1 Bechamel Cup, we don't need like the... Bechamel Cup enables very quick starts with like going Goose into Bechamel Cup into Ritual, which is quite good against Tron. But also it enables like slower lands that play through Court of Calling and Yawgmoth, and these hands are too slow, so we don't necessarily want too many Bechamel Cups here. I tend to cut Young Wolf against decks that have exile removal, because obviously if they like exile your 1-drop, Young Wolf is the worst 1-drop you have, so it's the best to cut. And I don't want to cut Seer because I want to combo as fast as possible. But I'm not quite sure if you really want to cut Young Wolf, or if you'd rather cut maybe another Bechamel Cup, maybe even another Apprentice. Maybe Sephiroth. As I said, I came to the conclusion that Sephiroth is pretty terrible. It feels good if it works, but then again, if it works, you are already winning anyway, so yeah. I'm not bringing in the Masked Wendell because, in my opinion, as I stated, we want to win fast, and Masked Wendell doesn't make us win fast, whereas Force does. We can just force the hate piece, win next turn. With Masked Wendell, we need to take a turn to play it, so it doesn't make us win faster. That's why I would not use like too many hate pieces. Also, as you might have noticed, I am most of the time I'm boarding like 5 cards in, 5 cards out, mostly, like sometimes even less. I'm not a fan of overboarding because it dilutes our combo too much. So bringing only in 4 cards feels good as well. And I think our 4 best cards to bring in are Galactic, both of the forces. Yeah, and it might also be right to not even bring the forces. So we would cut even less, bring in even less, like maybe only bring in double Thoughtseize and Gadoktik. But I'm not quite sure. Like from my experience, I liked having force against Eldrazi but with things like these, like that's a wipe space decision, so it might definitely just be incorrect. Why are we boarding the whole time against Tron? Okay. Next game, obviously, cracked hand. If we are to draw a land, Boseiju is awesome. If we are not drawing a land, we go Goose, Cup, Birthing Ritual. I think we cannot ship this hand. Like, it's obviously it's one of these hands I was talking about where we might not be able to win fast enough because we need to flip Ritual a few times, but I think you can't ship this on a 7, so especially on the draw. Yeah, hand too good to give away. We are already one game up, so I feel like it's reasonable to keep this hand. Even though they might just go natural Tron and maybe beat us, but we, as I said, we have Boseiju. Hand obviously at this point pretty busted. I'm not sure if they can even like Ugin through a double Ritual hand, so and then basically we see us most likely winning because this is not a Tron land. Like it would probably have been close if this would have been a Tron land, but since it's not, like they are royally fucked. And then we also draw like a land so we can keep Boseiju up to Boseiju. Like could have been interesting if this would have been a Tron land. We might have like just played a Goose, kept Boseiju, and tried to kill like one of their lands when they tap out or like after they picked their land. But yeah, at this point like mana is perfect. We have Goose, we have Bechamor, we have Ritual. And we can just commit, cause like what can they do? They can use like they can play command for 1 exile like the Goose. We don't care. Then they can't even crack the map. They will most likely crack map. Like worst case scenario would have been play command for 1 exile Goose, play Dismember on Bechamor Cup, and even then we have Temple Garden. So and also maybe notice the sequencing by playing land and tapping like land for Bechamor Cup. If they have the like Dismember, they need to Dismember the Goose, because when Bechamor Cup is on the board and you start targeting your land, Goose already taps for 2, right? So we already produced 2 mana, so Dismember can't really interact with Bechamor Cup at this stage. So yeah, they could have sequenced if they had command and Dismember, they could have sequenced it to get us, but basically this way we are pretty. It's a good habit to tap the lands for the Bechamor Cup to be able to tap the Goose in response for 2. We flip Feeder, Goose, Apprentice, Samwise. At this stage, I am like I would like to take the Apprentice, because this doesn't make us commit to a combo turn. This makes every card we sack into our 2 rituals pretty, like it's every card pings, every card produces value in a sense. But yeah, we are still playing a combo deck, so I think it's correct to take Sam. But you could like when you don't like, if you don't want to rely on luck in a sense, you can go for the apprentice and then go a safe route. But I think definitely having 2 rituals, we go for the kill. They could have Thought Knots here, which yeah, is what, like, they could take the birthing ritual. It wouldn't be as bad because they are still very slow. They are far away from killing us. We still have Boseiju, so. Also, like, they could have, for example, K command, which is also not as bad. And then they go Chalice for 2, which I think, like, I wouldn't even Boseiju it. I will. I will, because I think we are already winning so hard. We just Boseiju and play ritual. We could also have just ignored the Chalice and have kept Boseiju to get him off of Tron. I think I just wanted to go for the win at this point because I kind of committed to the combo line with picking the Sam. And we find the Familiar. And then we do not find a sec outlet. So kind of punished, like, thinking about, like, if we would have picked the apprentice here, we would have generated more value than with the Sam. So now we are we could lose to Tron into, like, Ugin, into casting a lot of stuff. So risky play, I think. And obviously he goes for Tron. Now he could also go for, like, the All is Dust would also royally fuck us. He goes to Ugin, and I think he just hits the Sam, and I cast Sam next turn, and then I win. Yeah, I think he has another. Yeah, he 1 cat, and then he plays something and exiles Sam. Oh no! Oh, obviously. Okay, he had to read. He exiled both cats, so. Here we could have gone for double goose, which I'm doing. Okay, why am I? I'm not sure why I kept the tomb open. I cannot draw Boseiju. Like, I'm not threatening Boseiju because I would have already casted it. I'm not sure about my decision making here. It seems weird. Just mini optimization. I should pick the Familiar here because he already exiled 2, so there's less in my deck than sack outlets. Okay, which I realize. Also, always better to pick Cauldron Familiar first because you can sack it and then revive it. And then we found the second Cauldron Familiar, but also, like, our sack outlets. I picked the Zealot because I didn't want to show them the Seer, but it's game 2 anyway, so it's over. But yeah. And then I'm not showing them Gadok Teak. Like, might be like micro optimization. If we would, like, meet them in top 8, they maybe wouldn't know that we play this. But yeah. Generally, I like not to show my opponents my cards when I can. When I can just win and keep it a secret still. Okay, this is us winning. I think this will be like my first cut for game 3. Maybe I will produce like 3 videos commenting on all of them. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we can start a discussion about my plays, or about Sam plays, about deck building. Yeah. Goodbye, see you in the next video, maybe.